This is the Political Spotlight.
The Political Spotlight is a joke. It's more like a political flop.
Nobody listens to Bilbrey.
He's just a wannabe podcaster. No one takes him seriously.
He is a rude, crude dude that will never go any further than broadcasting from his mother's basement.
Bilbrey is a wrecking ball for Indiana politicians.
Grab another box of Twinkies and generic cola, Bilbrey,
And get back to your microphone and your audience of nobodies.
The Political Spotlight is a joke.
He is like a rude, crude dude that will never go
Bilbrey's a wrecking ball for Indiana politics. Shut that stupid Bilbrey up.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It is time for the show. It is Sunday. Hey, we were off on Thursday, and I needed that. We took off Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We got a lot of stuff done in here in the studio. We are just about there with everything, ladies and gentlemen. We are almost completely done with everything here. I'm starting to feel a little bit better. Things are going a little bit better. I've always in the past, I've had this desire to have all of my cords neatly ran like in the walls and under the carpet, and the shortest point between the microphone and the sound boxes and all of that. And I've never done that because in the past it was just always haphazardly thrown together. But now, ladies and gentlemen, in this official professional studio that we've got here, I have finally got everything worked out to where it's all neat and everything is calm and it's flowing very well, and definitely a sense of feng shui in here. So we're doing well. We are going to continue tonight with the candidate interview. And we're gonna do that. We're gonna have a candidate on with us here in just a few minutes. It's gonna go great. Everything's gonna be wonderful. I will tell you, if you could do so, we would love that you go up and smash that like button and do all of the YouTube things so we can get that out of the way, so we can get underway with our guest. That would be fantastic. And that would be great if you could do such a thing. I'm looking here. Oh, I see what that was over. That was confusing me. I get you. I got it. Yeah, we could do that. I will tell you that I'm having a lot of luck with all of the people that are all of the candidates that we've reached out to. A good majority of them have responded. And I will tell you, if you are a candidate out there in the world that we've responded to, you haven't got back to us, don't delay any further, because all of the good dates are being taken up. So you're going to need to get back. We've still got some good spots open, but we are pretty packed up for the next several weeks. So get into me quickly so we can get you on the calendar and get everybody done. And again, remember, put aside your thoughts of me. I'm going to put aside my thoughts of you. This is not about you and me. This is about the people that will watch this. It's about the people that you will be talking to, and they deserve to hear from you. This is a job interview. It's one of the longest job interviews that there is. And if you feel like you shouldn't talk to the employers, what are you doing even running? So keep that in mind. Get a hold of us and make it easy on yourself. Reach out to us and talk with us and help us help you and spread your word. And we will have you on and get you set up. So we are going to be talking with our candidate tonight. And I think that he might be talking towards the end about some of the things going on. But one way or another, when we are done with the candidate, this won't be like the other night. It's not going to be the total show with candidate. When we're done, we will be talking about a couple of other things going on. I've been reached out by several people wanting to know if I'm going to talk about the Muncie water crisis and the ensuing communications crisis that there appears to be happening in the city. And then we also are going to be talking about this recent situation with the Yorktown Police Department and the Muncie City Police Department in this detention / arrest that ended up not being an arrest, but it was a detention, and they might have been a little rough with the person, and it just seemed a little bit much for what was going on. So we got all those things to talk about. But without further ado, we're going to bring up our candidate for this evening. You know him, you love him, or hate him, one or the other. It's very controversial figure, someone that we're supportive of here on his run in this election. And this is none other than Mr. Ryan Webb, running for the District 4 Delaware County Council. We're going to bring him up. Ryan, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We got you. Yeah, it's great. It's perfect.
All right.
Everything's wonderful.
All right, good.
Yes. So, why don't we just start right off? And for those, I don't know who wouldn't know you out there, but for those that might not, give a quick little introduction of who you are and what's going on.
Well, yeah, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Ryan Webb. Live here in Delaware County. I served 4 years on the Delaware County Council from 2021 up until 2025, and lost my reelection bid through one of the closest elections in Delaware County history, 68 votes out of 14,000. And we're here to correct that mistake. And so I got 6 kids, married my wife, Brandy. And we're just here to do what we can for the people. And if not me, then who?
Yeah, right. Absolutely. I do want to say, I know there's right off the bat, we'll just talk about a little bit of controversy surrounding you. I know that there's some people out there that are kind of confused because your sign says re-elect to the county council. And I that's what I put in the description. You have held a seat on the county council. Last time you were an at-large member on the county council. You are running for a District 4 position, but you have been on the county council. You served 4 years on the county council. You are not asking to be sent to the state house. You're not asking to be sent to Muncie City Council. You are asking to be reelected back to the county council seat that you have held, a different seat because it's a district seat, but it's the same council. And your opponent is running. He has never been elected to the seat. He's in the seat because of unfortunately, a long-serving District 4 Councilor, Jane Lasater, passed away while she was in office, unfortunately, and she served in that seat. He was caucused in, which means he was appointed by the party precinct committee people. So he's never been elected, but he's also saying re-elect him to the council, which to me, in my opinion, he's never been elected. So his signs, if we're going to get that, crazy, should say elect, but I don't have any issue. So do you feel that this is a re-election campaign?
Well, it's interesting. You started off by saying it was a little bit of controversy. You'll have to excuse me if I don't explain this perfect. I'm not used to dealing with a lot of controversy, so this is going to be something that's a little bit out of my wheelhouse. But yes. I have heard that there were some of my fellow Republicans who were whining a little bit that my sign said re-elect instead of, whatever. I personally don't think it's an issue. If I've asked voters if they think it's an issue, I'm asking you guys watching, if you think it's an issue, let me know. I served on the Delaware County Council. I was elected to the Delaware County Council. I've never served on District 4. But I have served on the council. Now, my sign behind me, it doesn't say anything about re-elect me to District 4. It just says re-elect me to the county council. And yeah, I guess I did take a little issue. My opponent signed very large letters across the top, says re-elect, his name, and he's never been elected to anything. He was caucused in by I don't know, 5 or 6 precinct committeemen, whatever it was for District 4. And granted, yes, he is the incumbent. I give him that, but he's not been elected to nothing. So I would say if there's anyone to draw an issue, it would either be both of us or none of us.
Yeah.
Because I feel like mine is no more of a mischaracterization than his is. If people feel it's misleading, that's not my intentions. It's just to convey the message that I have experience serving on this county council. I have put in work on this county council, and I was elected to that county council. So I'm just asking those who support me to send me back there. And if that's a controversy, then you know what? I guess we'll deal with it, and we'll see where how the chips fall.
Probably one of the least controversial.
Well, for me,
that might be facing Ryan
if that's the worst I got to deal with, I'll take that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I certainly don't care what that says, and to me, yeah, it is what it is. I think it's fine. And I'll be honest. Yeah, hey, so you're seeing for the first time, producer Kate has put on a poll down at the bottom. We now have the ability to run polls during our live shows. So our Ryan sign saying re-elect an issue for you. This is our inaugural poll that we're running here. Type 1 or 2 in the chat. A 1 for yes, it's a problem. 2 for no. Right now we're having 100% no. And so we're kind of playing with a new toy here and finding that out. But kind of was just
real quick.
Yeah.
Now that we can do polls, I'm curious. Will you have Kate queue up when this poll's finished? Ask her if this camera adds 75 pounds to me. I'm curious about that. It gets a second. No biggie.
That is something that seems to be bothering the candidates. I think everybody has. That's something else. The sheriff down in Henry County has been having a little bit of issue with that, and some of the people during one of his Q&As last week was talking to him about how it seems like he's actually gained some weight, and it was I guess a point of contention for them. But it's kind of interesting. Yeah, right. It's very, very interesting to see what's going on. But yeah, no, I'm glad you're here. We have reached out to your opponent, as we have everyone else. Have not heard back from Mr. Mochal yet, but we hope to. And so we're going to go from that way. But staying with you, so I guess getting right to it, so you're a Republican running to a council that is currently.
Yes. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, but it's currently held by all Republicans. But talk a little bit about maybe some things that you were able to accomplish on the council, and because when saying that, for quite some time you had some controversy. I guess every time you would go left, they would go right, or you'd go right, they'd go left. But you were able to get a couple things done that were pretty big, and so if you wouldn't mind, talk about those things for a little bit.
I appreciate you giving me an opportunity to lay out some of our successes. It was a challenging road, because you would think, being all 7-person being Republicans on the council, that if I have an idea or something we want to do, it shouldn't be that hard to get past. But it was the equivalent of me running against 6 other Democrats, because what we found was, I'm such a lightning rod, such I guess you could say a divisive person. I don't really think I'm divisive. I think I'm a truth teller. And can you turn that down, please? And so what was happening? Give me 1 second, Chris.
No, you're fine.
My wife's handed me this. I wanted to be able to see. Will you pull that around? I was hoping to be able to see these comments here.
Yes,
you got my laptop, so I can follow along.
You're fine.
I can never see your guys' comments.
I know it's a pain in the butt.
That's great. Thank you.
And Kate will put up anything that's very important, but yeah, it's good to see them all.
All right. So anyway, what I was saying here is I don't know how to do that, but we'll leave it like that right there.
We can give you time. We're no hurry.
Just a second.
It's not like we're live or anything.
I was just trying to see the comments scrolling there, but no big deal.
Can you see them?
Thank you, babe. I can see them. I guess they'll scroll up. So if I don't see your comment for a second,
they'll scroll.
As it scrolls up, I'll catch it.
Yeah.
So anyway, when I would come up with things, because what I ran into is, because it was me that was bringing it up. I mean, I could have said, hey guys, guess what? I found the cure to cancer. This is awesome. And, it would get voted down 6-1. And so sometimes and I hate to say this, but it was important for me to get an ally on the council. I found that with Matt Kantz. So sometimes I would needle someone like him and either get his support with it, or even get him to bring the idea up. If it was something I really, really needed passed, I would get Matt or someone else to present it like it was their idea, because then the other council members wouldn't be all against it. So there was ways we had to work around some of their inability to cooperate with common sense and reason, and we were able to get a lot of really big things done. Just to give you a couple examples, let me start off by live streaming. So I wanted most of the council meetings are live streams, right? You guys can watch them on YouTube. But the most important meeting, which is the budget meeting, you want to see what your councilors are important to them. Watch where they fight for the budget money, right? That's how you know whether they're blowing smoke up your ass or if they really believe in something, if they fight for the dollars in the budget meeting. And that meeting wasn't live streamed. And it wasn't live streamed because it's like 8 hours long each day, even longer. And anyone could put up a facade for a little while, but after so many hours, they let their guard down, and they didn't want that. So they wouldn't have it. So what I did is I would freaking live stream it from my cell phone up at the desk. I did that for 2 years, and once it became obvious that there's a big desire to watch these meetings, we were able to get it passed in our rules, along with the state law that said all meetings, including the budget meetings, must be live streamed. We were ahead of the law. The law came out a year or two afterwards. Yeah. But I'm proud to say that all the budget meetings, all council meetings are now live streamed, and that was due to my persistence with that.
Real quick, I want to cut in there for just 1 second.
You can cut in on each one if you like.
That's very important. That is something that is very important to 99% of the public out there. They are not gonna care one bit about the budget meetings. Okay, just absolutely not gonna do it. They are just not going to do that. But there are people out there like me, maybe other media people, and some citizens. And now I say that all people should be a little bit more tuned in. Maybe if you don't watch all of the budget meetings, that's fine. But it's definitely the big ones, the sheriff's department, the prosecutor, judges, things like that, people to watch. But that's something that I have fought for years and years and years. And I would go to meetings and I would talk to them and I would be blown off. And so before any of your fellow counselors or commissioners, try to say, well, Ryan's off here, that's bullcrap. I walked and talked to these people for years and years, Scott Alexander and all these people, and they blew me off with that. And Ryan was one of the only people that was like an ally in that fight, and I very much appreciated what he did. And matter of fact, we have people that are current elected officials who talked about, not needing transparency, and transparency was bull crap and all of this. But Ryan did fight that fight, and they were able to bring that in ahead of the state law, and it was very helpful. When Ryan used to do that, that was very helpful. And so that was, to me, that was a big victory, because we were able to get that with the county. And I very much appreciated that. And real quick, I just want to say to this gentleman, Jack Libertarian says, when are you going to interview some Democrats and Libertarians? Well, I will tell you, for this current race, what I'm doing is I am interviewing only candidates who are contested in the primary. So as you know, Libertarians are not on the ballot in the primary. So I will not be wasting any time with those people. Nor will I be wasting time with like a prosecutor like Eric Hoffman, who is not contested, or the sheriff who in Delaware County who's not contested. I only sent out invitations to contested races. So contested Republicans, contested Democrats. I do have, and so that's that. So only contested races. Number two, there aren't a whole lot of Democrats running. There are a couple of contested Democrats running in Henry County. There are a couple of contested Democrats running in Randolph County. And there are like one or two contested races here in Delaware County. And most of those have responded back to me, and we will have those on. I haven't heard back from the Randolph County people yet, but I expect to. So we will have Democrats on. In the general, we will have any Libertarian on that wants to come on. We send out an invitation to all candidates, and we put it out there. So if you have a candidate out there that you want to hear on the program, you guys need to go to them, and you need to tell them to contact me to get a hold of them. But if they're not contested, they won't be heard until the general. Right now, we're just focusing on contested races. Okay, back to you.
Well, and one of the things you mentioned there was you were shouted down at the meeting. That's
Yeah.
another thing I was able to do. I
Yes.
was able to get it ingrained in our council rules and set in stone that you don't have to sign up to the sign up sheet to speak at our council meeting. You don't have to give your name to speak at our council meeting. Now you can sign up if you want to reserve your place in line,
Yeah.
but but anyone can. So what the council does is you at the end of everyone speaking, the council president will then say, hey, is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to speak? This does a couple things. Number one, if you're someone who doesn't want to give up your identity, that's your time. Number two, if you're someone who come in late, that's your time. Number three, if you're someone who had never been to a council meeting, you don't even know about sign up processes,
Sure.
didn't know you had to sign up, then that's your time. And we put that in the rules. So I'm very proud of that. That was one of the things. The other thing that I did was I led the effort to have the largest salary increase for our sheriff's department in the county history. We had significant issues with the sheriff's deputies with the turnover because they were way underpaid. So we put in a lot of work to get that to a respectable and competitive level. I'm pretty proud of that. That was a pretty big deal. Now, when I first started that effort, the other council members, they didn't want to participate. They did not want to do the raises. So this is another situation where I'm outnumbered 6-1. So what I did is I used the public as an ally. So I went public with it. I made sure that we put public pressure. There were people picketing outside the council buildings. There were neighborhood meetings. And once they saw how much public support there was for this, even though they didn't want to vote with me, they had no choice. And they voted 7-0, and we voted to increase the sheriff's deputies and the correctional officers' pay to a respectable level. That's one of the ones that we were able to overcome as far as even being outnumbered. I would say one of the biggest ones that I'm best well known for come from a mistake. We made a mistake and approved tax abatement for an industrial solar farm. I asked the question, is there any opposition to it? They said no. Well, come to find out, there was a ton of opposition to it. Those people just didn't know at the time. Once they found out, they showed up at the next council meeting by the dozens and dozens, and they were organized. They were with legal representation. And I, immediately recognized, hey, man, we got this one wrong. Let's fix it. And I wanted to rescind and repeal the tax abatement. Well, apparently that's never been done in Indiana. And even though our attorney told us we'd probably and likely win because we have the discretion for tax abatements, my fellow council members just didn't have the guts to do it. They said it would be Indiana case law and we would likely be sued. And it would, even though we would win, we would have to fight it out in court. And they just didn't have any interest in doing that. So accepting that, I said, well, what else can I do? So I wrote a resolution to ban tax abatements in the future for any industrial solar farms, windmills, carbon storage, any of those things. And again, the council didn't want to do anything with it, but we utilized the public. We got the support of the public behind it. And those other 6 councilors begrudgingly voted with me. I'd say other 6. I had Matt with me. Matt Kantz was with me on that. But the other 5, they voted with us and held their nose while they did it. But we passed that ordinance. So now industrial solar farms, the only way they're going to come to Delaware County is without a tax abatement. They can still come. That's the crappy part about it, but they're not getting any tax dollars. Plus, it sends a message to them and says, you're not welcome here. Go somewhere else. We want something different. So that's one of our best things that we're known for as well.
Yeah. And I tell you, I'm sure you remember something we've talked about a couple times, but when you were dealing with the election 2 years ago, and we were winding the election down, I think it was last time you were on as a candidate interview, and we were talking about, what you had done that year and what you were hoping to accomplish in the next year if reelected at that point. And one of the things is you had taken kind of a vow that when the department heads and county employees came in to talk to you guys as the council, that your response was going to be basically across the board no, and someone in the department heads and the county employees was going to have to bring the receipts to you. They were going to have to bring you the plans. They were going to have to sell you on the idea. You were going to be an across the board no unless you were sold on the idea, unless the idea was just an absolute winner that made sense. And one of the things we talked about was, that's the thing I think people need to know about you. People might disagree with you on national politics, or people might disagree with your thoughts outside of the council, but on the council, you are someone that the council, that a lot of people should respect. You are going to listen to the people. You're going to let the people talk, whether they like you, whether they dislike, whether they're talking bad about you. You're going to let them talk. You're going to let them say the things they say. And then you are not going to go for just the crazy wild spending, the things that both Republicans and Democrats are not supposed to like. And that's something you did. And one of the things we talked about was, with you not on the council, we weren't going to hear no anymore, and there weren't going to be a whole lot of questions about things. And I think that we were proven right in that. I think the council meetings are fairly, short. There's not a whole bunch of back and forth. They just basically all agree on everything. It's across the board voting. Yes, 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 yes. So talk about that a little bit.
Well, that's an unfortunate side effect of me and who I am. My extracurricular interests and activities outside of the council, particularly on world politics, national politics, and social issues, that tends to, those are just interests of mine, has nothing to do with my job that I did as a councilman. However, that tended to get the most reaction out of people. For some who liked me, that would be why they liked me. And definitely for those who dislike me, that was why they disliked me. I would challenge you. You get 10, 20 people who hate my guts, bring them on your show and ask them what I did on the council that they disagreed with. And I think they'd be hard pressed to even tell you anything, if at all, because I made my decisions from the position of, if I wasn't elected and I was sitting at home, what would I want someone doing? And for example, you referenced the bring the receipts. I made started with a New Year's Eve resolution. I'm going to start saying no more. I'm going to say no to my kids more. I'm going to say no to my wife more. I'm going to say no to the council more, right? Just saying yes too much. And the council was no different. And the council was rubber stamping everything. They were saying yes to everything. And these department heads were coming up to these meetings asking for 50,000, 100,000, 300,000. And all we were getting from them was their verbal take on what they thought it was going to be. Hey, we're remodeling this, that, we need 300 grand, whatever it is. And, I just started applying that to a common sense perspective and said, well, okay, do you have any invoices for that? Do you have any estimates for that? What do you mean you need 300 grand? How about you show me the invoice? Because let me tell you what happens. They'll ask us for 300 grand. We'll give them the 300 grand. The job will take 150 grand. Okay. Now they got that extra 150 grand sitting in their budget. They didn't spend it. They'll come back 3 months later and say, hey guys, we want to buy 10 new computers. Well, they know we're not going to approve them for 10 new computers. So what they do is, guys, we want to buy 10 new computers, but don't worry. I don't need any extra money from you guys. This money's already sitting in my budget. So it's no extra money. And the reason it's sitting in their budget is because they overinflated the amount of money they needed the first time. The council never did the due diligence and asked them to prove it. We gave them way more money than they needed. And then they come back 2-3 months later with a vanity project that we would have never approved. But it's okay because it's no new money and it's money we've already got. And that's what the councilors will say. They'll say, well, I mean, hell, it's no new money. So who are we to tell them what to do with their money? And they rubber stamp it and vote yes. And I got a beat on that pretty quickly of what they were doing and they'll plan this 6, 7, 8 months in advance and line it out. And those councilors got short memories. Yeah. They got short memories. They forget. I'll give you an example real quick before we move on. When my very last budget meeting, when we were in the meeting and they all come up to the podium and asked us for XYZ, we denied all of it. We said, absolutely not. You're not getting it. We don't have the money for it. Okay. We passed the budget. The end of the year comes. Ryan Webb's term ends. I'm now gone. The very first meeting, right? Keep in mind, when you have a budget, they shouldn't be asking for any money on the very first meeting because they have a budget. There's not enough time for shit to have changed for them to need more money. I'll be damned. It was 3-4 different department heads came up to that council meeting, asked for the exact same things that we had already told them no for back in September. And that council didn't even ask. I was watching it. I'm not up on the council no more, but I'm watching on my phone. I'm like, we've already told them no. No one. Why is no one asking them these questions? And they just rubber stamped it. Yes, yes, yes. And they approved every one of them. They didn't say no to any of it, even though we had already told them you're not getting it. And it's frustrating, man. Those folks are not willing to ask the tough questions. They're not willing to upset those department heads.
Yeah.
And, it'll come back to burn them.
Sure.
I made a comment. I don't know if you're going to ask this question or not, but I'll say it. Everybody knows the Delaware County is dealing with the issue with an employee allegedly misappropriated some money. It's led to her termination. It's led to some multiple department heads on suspension, all these things. Well, let me remind you guys what I said one time. I, as a councilman, said one time that when these department heads come up and ask for hundreds of thousands of dollars, that I, Councilman Ryan Webb, do not trust them implicitly. I do not trust them because people lie, people omit the truth, people mislead. When they're asking for hundreds of thousands of dollars, they leave out things, and you have to ask direct questions to pin them down. And I say, my own kids would do it. My kid would ask me for $20 to go to the movies. Come to find out, they're buying illegal fireworks. Right? It's human nature. That's what people do. So I made that comment. I don't trust these people explicitly. I said there's very few people that I trust blindly, and none of them are in this room right now. And Ed Carroll, who's the chairman at the time, issued a statement condemning my words as hate and just basically just how could I have said that? Literally issued a freaking statement condemning what I had to say. And now fast forward to where we are today. We have this mess with this employee who, by the way, I would have never guessed.
Right.
I would have never guessed that
not
particular employee. But it goes back to what I said. You don't just trust people when they're asking for this money. You have to prove it. Yet they do it in every other business. Prove to me you need this amount. Show me the invoice. Show me the estimates. So I made that my credo. And there were several department heads who respected that.
Sure.
And when they would come, they would bring the estimates. There were also several who told me, flip rocks. You're just one guy and you won't be here forever.
Yeah.
We'll just wait you out.
Yeah. That's the problem with department heads going up against elected officials. The department heads, for the most part, know they'll be there. And
they play the long game.
Yeah, it's the long con, absolutely. Moving on to ask a couple questions that we've got from the audience here. Something that's really come up here in the last couple of months, specifically in Muncie and in Delaware County after the commissioners meeting, most recent commissioners meeting. What's your thoughts on the flock camera sending system, the funding for that, what the city and the county is doing? Muncie is in Delaware County, but both city and county with the flock camera system. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll be honest. First, I want to state I'm not 100% familiar with the setup with the flock system. I will say it's like anything. It's got pros and cons. It can be a tremendous tool to law enforcement to help find someone if they need someone or to prove you're in a certain area. But like anything, it can also be incredibly abused. So I don't know. I guess I fall back on the old adage of I don't really like being tracked, and even though we willingly carry these cell phones everywhere we go, they can track us from that way too. These officers in their cars now can pull up your phone and pin where you're at. They don't need no warrant or anything. They can literally do it in their police cars. So yeah, I don't like the flock system as much for that, but they're already doing it just from our cell phones. So I don't really have a good answer for that as far as whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. They're going to use it. It's out there. Now, as long as it's limited to license plate gathering, I guess we'll learn to live with it. they start trying to, write tickets and stuff like that with those kinds of technologies. It's something that I think we should all oppose.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's a very slippery slope, an easy way to violate Fourth Amendment on folks, and I think that to me, what I was seeing is with these drone things that was going on with the council meeting, they went and asked, and the council said, well, we want to see some more information. We want to see your SOP on the drone policy. And instead of the police chiefs and everybody saying, okay, yeah, we'll do that, we'll deal with it next month, they just said, to hell with you, and they found another way to do it. And I'm like, if they're that hardcore about getting it, that they can't go through the process of giving the people what they need, there's a reason that they're going that hardcore for it. And I really question that.
Well, the flock system in general, what I don't like about it is it's assuming that the person who's registered the vehicle is the person behind the wheel.
Sure.
So if, my wife's a saint, never does anything to get in trouble. But let's say my wife had some unpaid parking ticket or warrant or whatever, and I'm driving the vehicle and the flock system triggers, I'm getting pulled over. Now I have to show my ID. I have to go through the process when it was never me in the first place. They were alerted that that owner, who was, my wife, would be the person that they would need to get. So that's that is one of the parts that is I wish there was a better way to avoid that. But, these things are everywhere, and I think it's only the beginning.
Absolutely. What another topic that a lot of people around here are dealing with? What are your thoughts if elected to the council about the potential data centers that you're hearing a lot of people are dealing with, and the thoughts on that?
Well, personally, I'm a big supporter of AI. And I like the idea of these data centers are going to go somewhere, but at the same time, I was a supporter of solar too, and I had to learn there that the people weren't. So it doesn't matter that I'm a supporter of it. From everything I'm hearing, nobody else is. So if the people around me aren't supporters of it, then that's what I would have to go with, regardless of what I thought about it. If now, just like with the industrial solar farms, it was 100 to 1. 100 people to 1 were telling me they hated it. When I first voted in favor of that, I went home thinking we did a good thing and told my wife, all excited, like we did something great. And then I learned, man, we really stepped in it and messed up, and we had to fix it. So, it doesn't really matter what I want in that instance. From what I've seen so far, most people, I've not yet seen very many people who are in favor of the data centers. I think they'll be outdated pretty soon too. Elon's filed a patent to have the data centers in space, so you can use the solar electricity and the cold air of space to cool them. Because one of the big things is they use up a lot of electricity and they take a tremendous amount of water to cool them. Well, Elon's filed a patent with the government to use his SpaceX rockets to put 1 million of these satellites in orbit to have the data centers in space, and they use the cold air of the space and to cool them, and the solar panels to get the electricity. So I think it's only a matter of time for that takes off, and all these data centers that are on the ground will be pretty much kind of outdated. It's like with a phone or computer, after 2 or 3 years, it's outdated. So
sure.
I don't know where all these other elected officials stand on it, but I would have to probably listen to what the people say, and what I'm hearing is they're not big fans of it.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. We've got a question ask about the candidate event from this last Saturday. Why did you bail on the candidate forum you said you were going to participate in?
Yeah, I did. And I showed up, and it's unfortunate that I had to leave that, because it was one of the best attended candidate forums that I'd ever been to. But they put us in groups of 5. And unfortunately, I was in the 5th group. I already went in that day because my wife, we had an Easter thing planned, and I told it was at 1. The thing said 12:15. So I told my wife, well, I'll be a little bit late. So I already knew I was going to be leaving early, but the event didn't start till after 1 o'clock. And then in addition to that, they put the county council in the very last group, which would have put us closer to 3 o'clock. And there's just no way I could sit there all day and to wait for that limited interaction. let me say this. I'm a data guy as well. I work 70 hours a week. The weekends are my only time to go knock doors and talk with Republican voters. I'm at a Republican primary, so I'm speaking to Republican voters at this moment. At that event, it was mostly filled with candidates and mostly Democrat attendees. There were a handful of Republicans. So I just had to do the equation in my head and say I could sit here for 3 hours and speak to these 5 Republican voters, or I can go out and talk with 150 people on their front door and tell them about my vision for Delaware County and introduce myself and let them know that I would like to earn their vote. So that's the decision I made. I made the decision that, if it was in the first part of the event, I would have been happy to participate, but being pushed to 3, I have a limited amount of time to do it. That was in my prime time, and I made a decision on what was going to be more effective to allow me to reach the most voters in Delaware County. So that's why I left.
I wish that system would have been broken up over various days, because it seemed like it was put together pretty well. What I think is, and I guess this is one thing I can say about you, even for the people who dislike you or dislike what you stand for. One thing I can say is there are candidates out there that the only chance you're going to get to hear them is their 2 or 3 minute speech that they give at an event like that, and then they're basically disappearing. For you, the one thing I can say is if somebody sends you a message, if somebody hits you up on social media, you don't seem shy to respond or to answer. You're very outspoken and you're out there. So I can say that. So if there's anybody that wants to hear anything or know anything, you are out there. You're on social media. You're on all the various different platforms, so you can be found.
I appreciate you saying that. I'm glad you said that, because that actually factored into my decision as well. I think I'm the most accessible and approachable and transparent elected official or candidate in the whole state of Indiana. There isn't anyone who communicates more with people than I do. Good luck reaching out to any of these other candidates and getting them to go have a beer with you,
Absolutely.
have a conversation with you. Again, I work 70 hours a week. The weekends are the only bit I get. I worked 10 hours yesterday out knocking doors. I spoke with 200 people. I did it again today. I left at 11 a.m., got back about 7 p.m., and I spoke with probably 150, 175 people on their front porch. And I don't have a team of people going out knocking doors for me. I do this myself. I go out and I knock your door and I have a conversation with you myself, one-on-one. Last week we were at the White House. We went to Washington, D.C. Went to the White House on Monday for the Easter egg roll. So I lost a whole weekend there. So there's only 3 weekends left for me to make the biggest impact I can make. I'm fighting an uphill challenge in District 4. It's not my best district for my previous voting. As far as in the last election, I went, I think I finished 20th. Out of like 60-something precincts, I finished first or second in 20 of them. And very few were in District 4. So it's already a challenging district for me. And I just have to make the most of my time. And I think the best way for me to serve the voters is standing face to face on the front porch versus, maybe a few minutes in the candidates forum. So I apologize for those who are hoping to talk to me there. If you want to have any questions with me, if you have any questions that you feel like you wanted to ask that you didn't get an opportunity to, please reach out. I'm accessible, approachable. My number is 765-808-2385. I'll answer every question. There's no questions off limits with me. I'll answer every question you give me.
All right. I got producer Kate's pushing me. I want to ask you this. Last question before I give you a chance to kind of wrap her up here. We got a question from the audience. Do you support Indiana Secretary of State Diego Morales, and do you think that Diego is doing a good job?
Let me go back. So I voted for Diego. Well, I didn't vote for him. I wasn't a state delegate, but I thought when Diego first ran that he really put in the work. I'm one of those guys that respects the work, respects the effort you've put in. I don't like these candidates who put their name on a ballot and kick back and wait for the votes to just come in. And Diego was everywhere. Everywhere I was at, I saw Diego there. So I like Diego as a person. I thought he put in the work. with that being said, he's got some things to answer for. He's done some things that a lot of people, not just Democrats who whine and cry. There's plenty of Democrats who whine and cry, but there's other people who are kind of unhappy with some of the things he's done. So it's not for me to say whether I think he deserves another shot or not. People are going to make that decision, but that's why we cast the votes.
Absolutely.
So you'll have to live with how he's handled things.
Yeah. Well, so before we wrap her up, why don't you give your stump speech? Tell people why you need and deserve to be on the council starting next year for another 4-year term.
Well, I appreciate that. Number one is the county is going to have a hard time affording anything with the current direction that this current council is going. This council, first of all, Delaware County is already one of the poorest counties in the state. We're like 89th out of 92 counties. Okay. We have a council who says yes to every single request. You guys go back and watch, pick any 3 meetings, pick any 2 meetings, pick any 1 meeting and watch it. And you will not see them say no. Keep in mind, all those money requests are outside of the budgeted amount. We set a budget already. And then every month, these department heads come and ask for thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And these counselors never say no. They never say no. I, on the other hand, when I was elected council member, I said no in 1 year, more than every single council member or every single commissioner all combined did in their entire 4 years that I was there. Think about that. All of them together for the whole 4 years said no less than I said in 1 year, right? That's an issue. We don't have the money. Now they're going to try to blame SB1 and say, oh, SB1 is making us broke. That's not necessarily true. I'm not a fan of SB1. I'm the only candidate who's pledged to support eliminating property taxes. I want to eliminate them completely for homeowners. This council wrote a resolution, or they wrote an official statement, and they all signed it objecting to changes to the property taxes. They objected to it because that's going to affect the revenue for the county, and it's going to make them have to make tougher decisions. I want all property taxes for homeowners eliminated, and I'm the only council member who's on record saying that. Go ahead and ask one of them to try to put them on the spot and ask them to give you clarification. You won't get it. And if you do, ask them to do it publicly. They will not give it to you. You ask me a question, I give it to you publicly. That's going to happen every single time. So this county cannot afford 4 more years without somebody saying no, without somebody asking questions. Look at those council members again. You will not find any of them, not just my opponent, any of them that have ever went against the majority in a vote. They haven't. Even if they agree or disagree with the vote, they will not put themselves in the minority. They're going to vote with the majority, even if it's against what they personally believe.
Sure.
You will not ever find a situation where I did that. If I disagree with something, that's how I'm going to vote. I don't care if it's 7-1 every time. That's what I was going to do. When I was on the council, we balanced the budget all 4 years. All 4 years I was there, we never once had to borrow money. We never once had to pay interest on money that we didn't own. We balanced that budget. Now, I've been very clear. My plan, what I think needs to happen, is I believe we need to eliminate 10 to 20% of the workforce in Delaware County, probably at least 20%. So if there's, let's say, 600 employees, which I think it's a little less than that, right? We would need to eliminate 120 employees. Now, I'm not in favor of 120 employees losing their job. It can be done much more easier than that. All you have to do is phase it in through retirements and through attrition. As people quit, as people get replaced, or as people retire, you just identify which departments can absorb it, and you eliminate those 120 positions, and you just don't rehire another person to fill that role. That's how you're going to make up $10 million right there. The current council, they've told people in private, but they won't say it publicly because they know it scares the shit out of people. They're talking about saying they're going to have to eliminate 30%, a third of the workforce. Now, if they don't do what I'm suggesting and do it over time through attrition, they're going to have no choice but to eliminate jobs. They're going to have to eliminate people's jobs. And that's all because they don't have the courage to do what needs to be done now. And I think it's a tragedy. It's a travesty. I'm not in favor of it. It's very simple. Yes, it is a little bit more workload on the people that are there, but I promise you can do the work. When I was a quality inspector at Progress Rail, I hired him with 3 other guys. When I left to become a supervisor, I was the last guy there doing the same work that 4 of us used to do. And I remember when those guys left and they didn't replace them and they said, Ryan, you got to do it all. I thought, oh my God, there's no way I can do this. And I felt like I was drowning for a few weeks, but eventually it settled and I was able to get my legs under me and I did the work that 4 of us used to do. And I know these county employees can do it the same exact way. Someone has to get them to do it. In addition to that, the county's embracing AI. There's a lot of positions that can be done with AI. Like, for example, we've got multiple girls at the county council meetings doing the notes, right? The transcripts of the meeting. That's done with AI now. That's not necessary. It's not needed. So it's just a matter of, making the decision. So get back to what I said. I got off track a little bit there.
You're
but
fine.
You're not going to find another candidate who is honest and transparent with you than I am. I tell you how it is every time. And in addition to that, I'm not interested in a career in politics. I've told everybody that my life is just fine without it. But I see the way things are done, and I don't like the direction we're going. And I ask myself, if not me, then who? And but even with that said, if I am fortunate enough to go back to another term on the council, it would be my last, because I made a promise when I very first run that I wouldn't serve more than 1 or 2 terms at the max. So you will not see a career politician in me. That is it. So that's it.
I appreciate it. We will again have you back on when we get through the primary, if you are successful through that, and we've had you on at various other points, whether it's surrounded the campaign or not. So I'm sure we'll talk to you again in the future. I appreciate it, and you're always welcome here. And if you have anything that needs to be said or put out, please let us know, and we'll go from there.
Can I say something real fast?
Yeah, sure.
In the lead up to the show, you said that you were going to speak about the issue with the police, with the Hummers.
Sure.
Was that tonight?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking?
Mm-hmm.
If I could, I have a little backstory into that. Jared reached out to me and told me a little bit about that. I have a little bit of a connection to that. I know one of those officers is actually part of our family. One of those officers in that video is married to my niece, and he's a rookie, and it's a real unfortunate situation. And I just want to highlight, there were people in that video that I didn't like the way they handled things. And even myself, when I first seen that video, I was frustrated with everybody in the video. And then I had to take a step back and really compress all the data and think about everything that I know. And the truth is, one of those officers in there is a rookie officer. And it's unfortunate when you're a rookie officer and you're sitting there and you've got all of these other experienced officers that are doing things that you kind of think probably are a little too much. Yeah. And when the cuffs go on, they're trained to back up your partner. And we've seen it with that kid who got tried 3 different times. That was a rookie working with Chase Winkle, right? He was, and he went to trial 3 different times, beat it 3 different times. You got to think about that. What an incredibly difficult position to be in. You're a freaking rookie, and you're there with all them other guys, and they're doing this. So you assume that they're the experienced officers. This must be right. And so I don't agree with what happened in that video, but I thought it was important to mention that I do know one of the officers. He is a rookie, and I hate it for him that he's caught up in this because I feel like it's a perfect example of where if it was just him, maybe it'd have been a different outcome. But
sure,
you got other officers there respond in a certain way, and you do what you're trained, and you back up your fellow officers. So I hate that for the Hummers. I hope it gets worked out. I did not like what I saw with
Absolutely.
Town of Muncie in that video. So I look forward to your guys' discussion on it. And
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention that. So I do have a little bit of connection,
Sure.
even though I shared what I shared.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do have a family member on that side.
Right. I hear you. I appreciate it. Well, Ryan, I appreciate your time, and good luck on the election. We'll see what goes on, and we'll look forward to talking to you if you make it through.
Thanks for bringing me on, you guys. I appreciate it. You can follow my page, Ryan Webb, America's Councilman. Reach out. I love to talk with you, and I appreciate your vote. Go vote early. Go vote at any voting center. You don't have to vote at your normal precinct this year. And if you don't get a chance, then go vote on May 5th, Election Day. And I hope to get a chance to earn your vote and your support. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for the candidate interview portion of this. I want to thank Ryan for coming on. We have reached out and we have asked his opponent in this race, Jim Mochal, and we've invited him as well. We hope that Jim will come on. There's also a Democrat in the race, but I have not, I've not invited that Democrat on because no matter what happens in May, the Democrat makes it through to November. So when we get to the general election, which will really kind of start kicking off in August, September, remember, I always say to me that the general election kicks off the week of the fair. The Delaware County Fair, to me, is always the starting point. It's like the soft launch of the general election. So when we go into that period, we will invite the Democrat on, and it's not like we're not looking to speak to him. We're just we have a lot of candidates, so we're trying to deal with just the contested races. And when we deal with the general election, we will give the candidates more time. Instead of giving them 30 minutes, we might do an hour interview with each one and go with them that way. So we'll kind of look, maybe we'll start earlier and do all of that. Okay, moving on. We do have two other topics that we want to cover this evening. We're going to talk about City of Muncie, and we're going to talk about this police interaction. It started making a pretty big wave over Muncie social media. I tell you what, Muncie, Delaware County social media presence the last couple of days has been absolutely wild. There's been a whole bunch of things that have been on fire and kind of just making the way, going, at least locally viral. And this is one of those topics. I was contacted. I think this thing happened Friday evening, and I've talked to a couple people. I actually have the phone number to speak with the woman involved, and I am going to reach out to her. I specifically wanted to look and take a couple of days to dissect all of this and kind of look at it before I spoke with her directly. And so I am going to reach out. I believe that she's on here. Oh yeah, right there, Mandy. Mandy, I am going to reach out to you. I have your number. I think someone told you that they gave me your number, and you've got mine now. So I'm going to try to give you a call tomorrow. And this is not going to be the only time we talk about this, but I wanted to take a look at this, and I wanted to kind of open up with kind of what's going on here. I am sure a lot of you've seen it, but I definitely want to have some input. So I think probably the best way to do this is to just start with the video. There is a video out here, and the video is posted pretty much everywhere. It's under 9 minutes, so we're gonna watch the 9-minute video. I'm gonna put this up here, and we're gonna see it. And as is most incidents like this, you don't see this from point A to point Z. The video always starts somewhere around Q, R, you miss a lot of other information. So before we even talk about it, I'm sure a lot of you have read the incidents surrounding this and people's thoughts. We're going to start from we're going to kind of cleanse the palate, take a little bit of palate cleanser, and we're going to look at this. We're going to do the video. I'm going to give you my thoughts on this, and we'll go from there and let you kind of hear and see what's going on. So let me go ahead and share this to the screen, and I'm going to do what I generally do because this is shown in the straight up and down mobile version. So to make it as large as possible on the screen, I'm going to go away. You'll be able to hear me, but you won't be able to see me, which I'm sure does not bother many of you. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Without further ado, this is the video that's been recorded. This took place here in Muncie, Delaware County, and it involves citizens, and it then involves members of the Yorktown Police Department and members of the Muncie City Police Department. So here we go.
Phone out in the universe doesn't make it somebody. You can't look at it and say it's somebody.
It does. Did you purchase this phone?
I didn't take it.
It's in your van.
Someone gave it to me to turn into the
It doesn't
library.
matter. You have it.
Doesn't matter.
You're in possession of property that doesn't belong to you.
Can you please get your supervisor?
I believe you.
I do.
Because
Because I'm going to have the library pull up the video. It was in a parking spot.
It doesn't matter where it was. It
Yes,
doesn't
it
belong
does.
to you.
It didn't belong to anybody. There was no one around.
Okay, so you lay your phone down. You lay your phone down, and you take off.
Here.
Hold on.
When I pick it up, guess what? I'm gonna be calling
How the
it.
fuck you gonna know
Whose phone is it?
No, you're
Whose
not
phone is it?
understanding. Are you gonna be upset that somebody else grabbed it?
Somebody could have run over it.
It's not that you don't.
Somebody could have run over it.
All I'm asking is, are you gonna be upset if somebody picks up your phone?
I want your supervisor. I was doing the responsible adult thing. Yes, I
Oh, that's
was.
crazy.
I want your supervisor right now. Please have him call the Yorktown. He's saying I stole this phone. He's saying it's theft or I'm going to jail. I gave him my license.
I asked you for your ID.
Hold on, wait a second. I did not commit a crime. I'm not in. I didn't commit a crime. Here.
You asked me what
I didn't commit a crime.
You asked me what
There was not a
You're
crime
in
committed.
possession of a phone that doesn't belong to you.
Then an
I'm not
investigation has to
even-
occur.
I'm not
You
even-
said I committed a crime. You said I committed theft.
You're not stolen.
I want your supervisor. I want your
Just-
supervisor.
Yes, he did. That's what he told you.
She's the part of it. Yep. I'm gonna cover that. It doesn't matter. All I'm saying is, I asked for it.
I'm going to pause this for 1 second, and I want, where are we at physically in the world? Where are we at here? Where is this parking lot? What, if someone can give me that? I haven't, I'm watching it. I have not watched this video all the way through. This is my time to watch it all the way through because I've read the post, but I didn't want to get any kind of preconceived ideas, and so I wanted to watch it with you all, but I'm trying to figure out where we specifically are here. GBC Muncie, what's that? Can you? Oh, Grace Baptist Church.
Okay. And that would be your problem.
No, it's not.
It's possession of
No, it's
property
not.
that doesn't belong to whose phone is that? There, right there.
I waited.
They followed her
That's
over here
fine.
because they watched it happen. Okay.
That-
So what I'm saying is, that's where did you pick it up at?
in a parking lot at the library when I picked him up for church.
It has to be stolen for there to be a crime. It's not a crime if she finds it in the parking lot trying to return it to the rightful owner. You know?
I don't work right now. Why did you guys leave it in the parking lot? Huh? Why am I lying? The library has video. Yeah, check my GPS. Check the GPS on my phone. You can pinpoint right where I stopped to pick my friends up for church. My clients from work.
Listen,
I want to go to the
this wasn't
supervisor.
this was about getting the phone. I'll ask for an ID so I can walk the stuff.
If a crime's not committed, I don't have to do that. Because I was being a good citizen.
Yeah. We got it.
Okay. I have my own phone. Money.
Sir, you found your phone on the ground, right? I don't know if you were leaving there. When I went back looking for it.
It's gonna get ran over.
So, sir, it gets ran over.
Crime has not been committed. I'm accusing you of stealing it in a parking lot in a fucking space. I backed up. Oh, I'm calling. Okay, as a good citizen, I'm gonna take it back to the library after my church. I was late for church. I'm taking people up for church. I'm a leader here. That's my work van. I'm at work right now. This is ridiculous. The crime has not been committed. This is all Councilor. But I need them and I need the supervisor. No, please stop. You guys, you guys, I want the supervisor. Please, I'm not pulling away. I am absolutely not pulling away. I have a keys in my hand. I am not pulling away. I am not pulling away. Where are you? I want a supervisor right now. I'm in my work van. Take my phone. Take my phone. Stop what? I'm standing here. Literally, my hands are out. Right?
Just get a lawyer.
Please call. I have not done anything wrong. This is ridiculous. You left your phone in a parking lot, in a parking spot. I want. You have to call it. I have my.
Yeah, just remain silent until you get a lawyer on this. That's a witness on this. Where's the?
I'm not resisting. Please call the supervisor.
I already did.
I want him. When he's here before you put me on. This is a crime that is not being committed.
They need to get the video from the library immediately, because it'll show that they picked it up, that she did pick it up. See, it was laying in the middle of the parking lot. Seen them witness. It would have got run over. Now somebody else could have took it and threw it out
You're
there.
ridiculous, bro. You're ridiculous, bro. Hey, you're ridiculous.
She didn't take it, but what if somebody threw it out there that did take it? You can check the library. It was laying on the ground, and we got two witnesses right here. Okay.
Well, my
That's
first
fine.
thing is,
it's all in video.
oh wait,
It's all in video. We are. We're going to, because she didn't steal the phone. She did not.
Guys, come on in, okay? We're going to go ahead and get started. Nothing you can do here.
There's nobody, there's two people in the van, buddy. We got it on the video. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist where you at. You're not trying to exist. Why you do so because that shows a lack of intelligence.
That is so crazy. That just shows you how police is. Man. Damn. Trying to get her for theft of a phone that we found in a parking lot. Yeah, but the library will find it. She found it in the parking lot to keep from getting run over, and we was running late for church, so she said she was going to turn it back in after church.
Oh, me now? Now with me. I see your back. Yeah, now with me. Yeah, now with me. It was everybody. We all took the phone. Yeah, we all took it. Yeah, we all took it. Yeah, we all took it.
So are you claiming that somebody else grabbed the phone and not her, and now we're having her arrested for bullshit?
that's Tumblefoot.
Bro, is this really happening?
Hey.
What are we standing around? What are the people? What are they doing? That's the
man. That is not right.
Phone out in the universe.
all right, ladies and gentlemen. There that is. So okay, here's the deal. I don't know what's happening here. I got to figure out how to do this. There we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there's the big phone MPD, YPD ordeal that occurred, I guess, Friday evening. And this has kind of been taken the Delaware County, City of Muncie, East Central Indiana social media by storm. It's kind of become a big thing. So it's really odd if you just watch that and you don't have any kind of other information about what's going on. You really can't tell what's going on there. I have talked to a couple of people connected to this. Now, as I stated here, I have not talked to Jared Hummer. I've not talked to Mandy Hummer. I've not talked to them. And so I will reach out to them, and I will try to communicate to them with them over the next couple of days and see what goes on there. But I will tell you, so I was first contacted, I think Friday evening, by an individual, and they said, hey, you need to listen to this and see what's going on. This has been way out of control. So basically what I'm hearing happening is the woman in the video who's being surrounded by police, Mandy Hummer, she finds a phone. She works with, I'm not, until I get the okay or I see someplace else, she works with individuals that are in a position that need some help. And that's all I'm going to say. And she was picking them up and taking them to this church service. And while she was doing this, they come upon this phone. And this is what I'm being told. So right now, I've not seen any other video outside of this. I've not heard anything different. So I'm just relaying to you what I've heard, okay? That they came upon this phone that was laying in a parking lot, okay? And they had a couple of options. They could attempt to run it, and where they were was the library. And they could attempt to run it into the library, but she has to get these men to this church service. They got to be there. You know, they've got to be places they've got to be. So I think what they thought they were going to do is they were going to take it to the church service and then attempt to locate the owner of the phone or turn it in, maybe turn it into police, or try to see if there's a way to contact or get through and contact the owner of the phone. I will tell you, I've seen some of you commenting. I have done that very same thing. I have found wallets. I have found phones and other items that I have picked up and have turned over to their rightful owner. I think that if you're a human over the age of probably, 10, 15, you probably had the occasion to either do that, or you've lost something that maybe somebody else has turned in, or you've lost something that you hoped somebody would turn in, but they never did. I once lost my phone in Target. I had been using my phone, and I often will use black cases or, cases that, if it blends in, will make it hard to see. And I put it up on top of a shelving area, and the case was black and the phone was black, and my phone died. I've done that twice in my life. Once I put it on my hot water heater and it died, and I couldn't find it for days. And then once I lost it in Target for several hours, and then we happen to just find it out of pure dumb luck. But, everybody, if you lose your wallet, you lose a phone, these things are expensive. People hope that someone's going to, ooh, that's a big deal. Swalwell drops out of California race. That's big. But everybody hopes that someone will turn their lost device or lost wallet or lost item in. That happens a lot. So she picks this up, and she was going to do this. And they then drove to Grace Baptist Church, which is on the corner of River Road and Nebo. So it's kind of like the borderline between Muncie and Yorktown. All right. And we see that the Yorktown officer gets there. What's crazy to me is it seems like almost instantly that this is like, you're under arrest. This is theft. You stole this phone. It's like that they're trying to make this into, she crawled through somebody's window and she took this, or she walked by and pickpocketed this out of somebody's pocket. And, it's crazy what they were alluding to here. Now, I'm going to read the writing here that her husband has put out when he shared this. This is what he's wrote. So we'll learn more here. This is what Jared says. This is how my wife was treated by the Yorktown Police Department and Muncie City Police last night after finding a phone in the parking lot of a Muncie Public Library. She ultimately was released. So the lady that we saw there, because the camera ends, it looks like she's being arrested. They've handcuffed her, and it looks like she's going to be arrested. She was not actually arrested. She was not booked. She was not fingerprinted. They did not take mugshot of her, and there were not arrest paperwork filed that evening. Now, we'll continue on here. Okay, she was ultimately released, but not after, I guess it would be, but not before, not before being humiliated, embarrassed, harassed, intimidated, and physically manhandled. My wife was transporting a van of men to our addiction recovery group at church. One of the men was at the library. She picked him up, and as they were backing up, one of the men noticed they almost ran over a phone that was laying in the parking lot. My wife stops the van. One of the men grabbed it and gave it to her. The hope was that the owner would call to find their phone, and if not, they could drop it off at the library later. This could have been easily resolved if the police would have went to the library and asked for the footage, which they refused to do. After following up with a sergeant at MPD today, they will be doing that. This is important because the owners of the phone first stated they saw my wife take the phone from inside the library, but my wife was never inside the library. They then said that it may not have been my wife, but it was somebody in black. This didn't really seem important to the officers either, as they left without finding out who, if anyone, actually removed the phone from the library. It was escalated very quickly by the Yorktown officer in the video, who was completely out of line. Kurt Waltauer, Yorktown Police Chief, spoke with me, Jared Hummer, today, and said the issue appears to be that my wife did not provide her ID. Now, we're going to come back on that, okay? He also agreed with me that the state law says that you are not required to show ID to the police as long as you provide verbally your name and date of birth, which we'll talk about that too, okay? Let's see. Required to show your ID as long as you provide your name and date of birth. He also said it would have been easier on my wife if she would have just shown her ID. What that means is that even though the law doesn't require ID to be shown, it's just easier on citizens to comply with that requirement, or the police will dole out consequences, which they did. Citizens should not have to fear consequences from police officers for getting upset or aggravated. We should not have to fear repercussions of upsetting officers. Unfortunately, Waltauer also states that the Yorktown officer's body cam was dead and not on. So there's that. It leaves me very concerned with that Yorktown officer will do this and be allowed with what Yorktown officers do and will be allowed to do. MPD officer Aaron Gross then storms in and handcuffs my wife aggressively for her non-compliance with unenforceable request, effectively making the offense contempt of cop, or in other words, not doing what the police officer has commanded you to do, even when they don't have the authority to command that. Identification was made. State law does not require an ID to be produced. My wife had to go to the emergency room due to how Officer Gross and the other MPD officers handled her. There is bruising on her arms with marks from the handcuffs. I am thankful for the MPD sergeant today who has concerns also. I trust MPD will handle this appropriately. Yorktown is not going to, it seems. Mayor Dan Ridenour, I know this is not how you want Muncie City Police to handle issues. With so much talk about how our officers deal with mental health issues in the city, I would not trust any of these officers to handle a difficult situation that involves mental health issues. These officers only escalated with no attempt to de-escalate, no attempt to uncover the truth of the situation either. We see what happens recently when MPD encountered a 70-year-old veteran with mental health issues. It seems there should be a real drive to de-escalate. Also, they claim my wife was put in cuffs for her behavior and for not showing ID. Side note, they released her without showing ID, making it important enough to physically engage her, but not necessary to be let go. A small portion of the picture of my wife's arms and wrist are in the comments. We'll look at those here in a minute. I want to talk about this for a second. Any type of program that human beings have watched for their entire life always says that when somebody gets arrested, and the police think this, when you arrest somebody and somebody is innocent, they protest loudly, madly, angrily that they're not guilty. And the people that are guilty don't do that. And so humans hear this day in and day out on the news, on TV, in documentaries, in true crime podcasts, and in TV shows. And when you are an innocent person, you are going to demand your innocence. You're not going to just sit by. So what they're telling us now is, no, don't do that. Let me tell you something. When police officers sit around their break tables and they're sitting around talking to each other, and cops are talking about how they would interact when the police shows up at their door, saying, hey, I need you to come down to the station and talk with us, or this or that. Cops are the first group of people who would say, man, I tell you, if the police ever showed up at my door, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to demand a lawyer. I'm going to say I got nothing to do to help you. I'm not. Cops tell you. Cops will tell each other. Cops know that if you haven't done it, don't help. You don't give your name, you don't show ID, and you don't help them make a case against you. Period. Point blank. End of sentence. That's what cops say to each other. How do I know it? Because I was one of those cops that would sit around and listen to that. I heard other cops say it. I said it to other cops. People in law enforcement, attorneys, cops, prosecutors, attorneys, judges, everybody knows you don't help an officer build a case against you, period. That's you don't do that. People say, but if you're innocent, you don't have nothing to hide. Don't. But here's the problem. When the police are coming up instantly and yelling, you're guilty of theft, they're not looking at you as innocent. They're looking at you as guilty. So now they're going to get your name. They're going to put your name in a report. Your name's going to go into the computer. The report's going to be printed off. It's going to be taken to the prosecutor's office. You may not be charged. If you're charged, you're going to have to pay for attorneys. You're going to have to fight this. You may be fired. You may lose your lease. All kinds of issues with this, folks. And if you're somebody, and I know nothing about these Hummer people. I'm just going to tell you straight off the bat. I've seen Jared around and we've talked periodically, but I don't know these people from Adam, okay? But I'm just talking about this. She helps people who are at the mission and other things. Okay, I'm going to say this. People who are in that line, or people who have, say you were an addict for 10 years and you had run-ins with law enforcement, but then 10 years ago you got clean and now you've lived a clean life for 10 years. That doesn't mean the police are going to treat you like you've been clean for 10 years and living a normal life and you're married and working and doing good things. Last time they knew you were an addict and you were in trouble. They're going to treat you like that. And they're not going to believe anything you say, because last time they dealt with you 10 years ago, all you did was lie to them. So listen, I've got no problem with her. I was just in the comments talking to somebody. Somebody said, oh, police officers' lives are so hard. They get shot at. Well, first of all, yes, police work is tough work. If you're not built for it, get out, move on. All right. You know what it is when you sign up. It's the same thing as being a political a candidate or being a politician. Nobody forced you to be a cop. Nobody forced you to be a politician. If you don't know what the job is and you don't know what the job entails, then get out of it. Policing is harder today than it was 20 years ago. I'm sorry for that. That's just the way it is. All right. That's just the way it is. You know it going into it. That doesn't mean when an officer asks you for ID just because that means. Now listen, if they have suspected you of a crime and they have probable cause, you got an ID. You're going to have to do that, all right? But in this situation, I think it's questionable. But it's not about the ID. It's not about the ID because she gave her name right at the front. She gave it. So it's not about the ID. It's not about the ID because she identified herself. All right. It's about the officers being butthurt and contempt of cop. That is a very real thing. All right. So I'm just letting you know, for all of the people out here saying, but she should have just handed it over. Let me tell you what would have happened if she would have handed it over. If she would have handed it over and there would have been no protestation from this, no protesting this situation, she probably would have been handcuffed, put in jail, and taken to jail, and now she would be fighting that. Now, I am telling these people, you need to call and get an attorney. This happened on a Friday night. There weren't attorneys working on Saturday. You need to start calling around and get an attorney. You need to start calling first thing tomorrow morning. Get an attorney. Call 2 or 3 or 4 of them. Get people that will talk to you. Go in and see what needs to happen here. Okay? They're saying that the Yorktown police body cameras are dead. That's a problem. You need to contact the Yorktown Town Council and you need to bitch about that. That is absolutely a problem. You need to contact the Muncie Police Department. You need to get body cam. You need to contact the library and see if you can get a copy of that. If they won't give you a copy of that, then you need to get your attorney, and your attorney will absolutely get a copy of that. You need to get a copy of the video. When you have a copy of the video, now I'm going to put this disclaimer out there. I'm going off the fact that what I'm being told is true. And I'm going to tell you, I'm just being honest here. If I find out that what I've not been told is the truth and that this was stolen and someone did take this out and whatever, I will come down on you harder than crap, because if you're making me look dumb by telling me something that's not true, I'm going to have a problem with that. Okay? So I'm giving everybody the benefit of the doubt here, because I've talked to people and I know the people involved and I trust the people involved. So I believe, and I don't believe that she went in and stole this phone. I believe that it was in the parking lot. Okay. I just believe that that's the case. Even if there isn't video of this in the parking lot, I believe it was in the video. You need to get statements of the people who were there. If the man got out of the car, picked the phone up, and gave it to the woman, gave it to your wife, then you need to get all those statements. Library says they need a subpoena. Your attorney can get a subpoena. That's not a big deal. That'll be a very easy thing to do. An attorney can get that. They could write a subpoena up and get that. It would take less than a day. It'd be very easy to get that. You need to get an attorney, and you need to get this. Now, I don't know. Are the police saying that they're going to file paperwork with the prosecutor's office? Are they long forming this, or did they just release you? What are they saying here? Okay, I don't know what's happening there. I don't know if they're saying, okay, we just released and the situation's over, or are they saying that they are long forming this? Okay, now, and in all fairness, when we say Mandy won't lie, her career's on the line, a lot of people who have jobs lie. I don't think that Mandy's lying. You also have to understand. So when the police come up, the police aren't going to believe you just because you say, I didn't do it, because everybody says I didn't do it. So saying like, I got a job, I'm not lying, nobody buys that. Nobody cares. The bottom line is the police have a job to do. They've got to do it right. They shouldn't violate people's rights. Sometimes they do. Just because they do doesn't mean you have to allow that to happen. Now, I will tell you, once you get to, protest without violence, protest without resisting. Okay, don't resist. It's okay to passively resist, but don't actively resist. Okay. Once you're to a point where they have violated your rights, your rights are violated. Now, I will say, Sergeant Venata says he has some concerns about how the police handled it. I think that's very good. That is very good. Yes. Jared Hummer. Look right here. Mary Nicholson is in the comments. Give the law office of Mark Nicholson a call. What I will do, if you can, Mary, if you can send me his, phone number to his office, I will send that to them. And he is one I would recommend. When people just off the bat ask me about attorneys, I say Mark Nicholson, Delk McNally, Brandon Murphy. These are just names of attorneys. He says the case was suspended and done with, but because of all the attention and what he saw happen, he believes all body cams need to be looked at and the library needs to be obtained. Video needs to be obtained. Absolutely. Now that's what he's going to do from his end. You guys need to be able to view all of that as well. And I will tell you, somebody asked me if I could get this body cam. And I'm going to tell you their new policy with body cams. I don't think that I will be able to request this. You guys have been involved. You guys definitely can request it. And I can tell you what to do and I can help you with that. I have no problem helping you request that and telling you what to do. I'll even help fill it out for you and I can send it to you. Then the other thing is I can tell you that. But your attorney could definitely get it. That's no problem. So producer Kate has already sent you Mark's number there. She sent that in. Venata says he's not sure while it's escalated. Venata's a good guy. I trust Venata will do the right thing and continue talking with him. Yeah, I have no idea why this was escalated. Very, very, very insane. Very crazy.
Do we know how many Yorktown police were on site?
2, I believe.
And neither of them had a body cam working.
Yeah, that's shocking to me.
I
don't understand. That's a big problem to me.
It is a big problem.
And Waltower being okay with this is also an issue with me. And listen, I'm telling you, Jared, Hummer, and Mandy, when you talk to these police officers, I guarantee you, if I ask, and don't say yes or no over here, you don't put it out there if you did or not. I'm just telling you this. Anytime you talk to anyone from this point forward, you need to record that interaction. You need to record your phone conversation with Venata. You need to record your phone conversation with Walltower. If you go in and you meet these people, you need to record your conversations. You don't have to tell them that you're recording it. We're in the state of Indiana. It's a one-party consent. I don't know if you did. If you did or didn't, don't mention it. Don't say that you did or didn't. I mean, if you did, you can say that you did. But if you didn't, don't give that out. But from this point forward, record any interaction that you have, period. Start it from before you go in and keep it running until you get back out to the parking lot. Don't, or start it before you make the phone call and keep it going until you end the phone call and record the whole process. But yeah, this is ridiculous. This was blown way out of proportion. I'm interested in the names of the quote unquote victims. Are they connected to somebody? Did they make this bigger than it needed to be? I mean, this is very weird. This was nonsensical. How many freaking cops were on site here? I mean, there were a ton of cops here. There's 1, 2, 3. I'm looking at this real quick here. There's one Yorktown. Let's go back and look at this. Yeah, who called Yorktown to begin with? How quickly did they get there? Why were they there as quickly as they? That's so strange to me. Very, very, very strange. I mean, you don't need 9 officers to deal with a stolen cell phone if that's what they're calling it. So there's the Yorktown officer. One.
Did you purchase this property that doesn't belong to you?
I'm going to have the belong to anybody. There was
how the fuck you gonna know who's
over it?
All I'm asking is, are you gonna be upset if somebody picks up your?
Who is she talking to? Who? Okay, so Yorktown cop is here. Yorktown cop is right there. Mandy is there. Who's Mandy talking to now? Who is Mandy talking? Is that Jared? Who is Mandy talking to right here? Yeah, that was interesting too. That the Yorktown cop was dropping the F-bomb. Man, I'll tell you what, it's a good thing he doesn't work for Sproles. He'd be fired. Yeah, right. Crazy to me. Okay, I thought that was you. So who are the people out by the car? Is that the victims? Are the people out by the car? Is that the victims? So we've got Yorktown, we've got Mandy and Jared.
He's saying I stole this phone.
No, all I'm asking.
He's saying it's theft. I'm going to jail.
I asked you for your ID.
Hold on, wait a second. I did not commit a crime. I'm not in.
Be quiet.
Jared's just like, everybody shut up. He's trying to shut the cop up. He's trying to shut his wife up.
If that's the victims out by the road,
okay,
I'm really interested to know who they are. Are the cops putting on a show for the victims?
Yeah.
To
like
prove
how,
that you're important and we're going to make sure this is taken care of.
Yeah. How did everybody get here? How did everybody get here so quick?
Yeah.
Somebody loses a phone.
And you bring the victim with you to do the arrest?
Yeah, this is very strange. Because so from what I'm hearing, no, it's not the road. We're in a parking lot. We're in a parking lot here at the church. So from what I'm hearing, is the phone was picked up and the police got to the church almost as instant as they got there. Yeah. I'm interested in who the phone belonged to.
Go inside. You asked me what
I
the
didn't
crime
commit
was.
a crime.
You asked me what the crime
There
was.
was not a crime.
You're
Now-
on a phone that doesn't belong to you.
Then an investigation has to occur. You said I
Here's
committed
another
crimes
Yorktown
that I
officer just
committed.
pulled up. Another Yorktown officer just pulled up. So there's two Yorktown officers. So neither Yorktown officer? Neither Yorktown officer had body camera? I got a real problem with that.
Yes, he did. That's what he told her.
Maybe I'm getting to be an old fuddy-duddy, but I think I'd like them to be shaved too. I think I'd like my uniformed cops to look like cops. You know, I don't know.
I asked for it.
Well, we need to find that out, Jared.
It's possession of property that doesn't belong to this one, is it? There, right there.
I waited.
They followed her
That's
over
fine.
here because they watched it happen. Okay. So what I'm saying is, where did you pick it up?
Whoa. Who's a county retiree? Who's a county retiree? Are you talking about Waltower or are you talking about somebody else?
At the library when I picked him up for church.
Now here comes MPD. So now we got 3 cops. We got 2 Yorktown and MPD. Who was the Yorktown guy? Who's the Yorktown officer? You don't know who it is?
In the parking lot, trying to return to the rightful owner. You know?
I don't work right now. Why did you guys leave it in the parking lot? Huh? Why am I lying? The library has video. Yeah, check my GPS. Check the GPS on my phone. You can pinpoint right where I stopped to pick my friends up for church. My client from work.
Listen.
No. I want to see longer.
This was about getting the phone. I'll ask for an ID so I can lock the stuff.
If a crime has been committed, I don't have to.
Yeah, but look, you don't have to give ID. Look, tell them you found it from Jane Doe. Tell them you found it from Jane Doe. You know what? I asked for ID. She didn't want to give an ID. She told me her name was Mandy. That's what we got. Okay. Yeah. People always need to get names and badge numbers in. And I know that that's like very First Amendment auditor like, and it's like, well, whatever. But it's important about getting that information.
Do that.
And that's a good move too. That's the other thing there. That's the other thing. And I'll give you guys a little bit of advice. If you are ever there and you're dealing with something like that, even if you got to lock your keys in your car, don't give them a reason to look through. Don't give them a reason to look through your car. Shut the car. Tell them, no, you cannot look through my car. Lock the keys in it if you have to. You can deal with that later. What happened to the phone? Do we know what happened to the phone? Was it given back to the people? Better go get Chili's trifold.
After my church. I was late for church. I'm picking people up for church. I'm a leader here. But I need him and I need.
Okay, so 2 Yorktown cops, the short Muncie cop. I mean, the cops are spending an awful lot of time. The cops are spending an awful lot of time with the victims, you know, on this. I want to know who the victims are. Okay, here come all the cops. All right.
No, please stop.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Please, I'm not pulling away. I am actually not pulling away. I have my keys in my hand. I am not
5.
pulling away. I am not pulling away.
And let me ask a question. Why did the video camera not follow the person being arrested? Why did we not follow the arrestee? If that's what we're going to use the word for here in a moment. And I think I know why, but I want to hear. The female, you can hear her saying, "You did the crime, you do the time." That's comical. They did not speak to one person in the van and took no statements from them. Isn't that amazing? That's amazing too. So this is a case of like very, very, very small amount of police work being done. The case of just wanting to be on the on Kristopher show. Yeah, right. Yeah. Why was county not called instead of Muncie City? Because this is right on the borderline of the city of Muncie and Yorktown. This wouldn't be county level. This butted up to city. Like if you're looking at the initial theft occurred in the city, and then they drove here, which is where it bordered on the city and the county, city and Yorktown. So that's why county wasn't called. But she kept asking for a supervisor, and a supervisor never came out. I don't know why. I mean, it's like, okay, a supervisor for Yorktown didn't come out because there's not a supervisor. There's only 2 or 3 cops on, so that's fine. But when Muncie got there, a supervisor should have been provided. And before we move on from here, I want to go look at the pictures, because then apparently some of these folks may have had warrants too. This was an addiction program. We had to take many folks home because they felt really intimidated by cops, kept hanging out forever. Sure. Let's see here. I want to show. So they ended up going to the ER because there were some. I'm looking for the pictures. I don't see the pictures. You said the pictures were in the comments, but I am not seeing them. Okay, you got him there. Okay.
I got him.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, wait, can you select all pictures? All comments? Did you do that? It says most relevant. Okay. Hey, scroll back up to the top real quick. Let me see what this says. All right, go on. Keep going. Okay, that's fine. That's good. I mean, yeah. Look, the documentation of the of the marks is. I mean, it's everybody should do that. There's nothing wrong with that. And that's definitely important. Contact an attorney and see what they say. I think that's very good. I'm going to reach out to a couple of people and try to find out more on this. This was just a situation of MPD and YPD getting too involved in what was going on here, contempt of cop, and this just nonsensical what they did, just complete horseshit. So I'm out. I just don't know what to say here. I don't think that this means, oh, well, she should have just given her ID. No, that's not the answer. Cops are not getting shot because she didn't show her ID. Let's just be real here. Okay. I love there's no, I'm trying to think of a better way to say it. There's not a better way to say it. The civil rights attorney on YouTube, he has the best saying in the world when he ends each video. Freedom is scary. Deal with it. No one has to apologize for standing up for their rights, however dumb or small or stupid it seems. Yes, it could have just been over if she would have just produced her ID, if she would have just done this. But you know what? That's not how it works. So we'll look into this. We'll see what goes on. She needs to get an attorney. If the people who lost their phone called instead of calling cops, they would have had their phone there, and none of this would have happened. This just seems real weird. I'm going to be honest. It's like I'm missing something. I really feel like I'm missing something is what I feel like. I feel like there's something here that I'm not getting. And I don't get what that is. All right. We'll look into this. We'll see what goes on. We'll continue to follow it. And we'll let you know. Hey, before we leave out of here, we do have another quick little thing that we need to talk about. Of course, this also is something that we're just starting to follow, and it's going to be a thing that we're going to talk about, and it's going to be talked about for a while. All right, there's some kind of water issue in the city of Muncie. I don't care if there's a water issue or not. I haven't drank water out of the faucet since probably ever. All right, I drink water from water bottles, and that's just the way. That's probably going to kill me, but it doesn't smell like weird. It doesn't smell like earth. It doesn't smell like mold. It doesn't look brown. So I'll just take it. So there's a great big water issue currently going on in Muncie, and people are concerned about this water issue. So they start posting and they start doing what people do. They take to social media and they start talking about it. Muncie Mayor Dan Ridenour went on Facebook last week, and he did what he does. He takes a drink of water, and it makes his face look all weird, and he looks all weird about it. The whole thing looked just funky, very, very, very strange. I will tell you, Jeff Robinson had probably one of the best posts about the situation with the water, and Ridenour's little drinking thing that he did. Robinson had posted, trying to scroll down here to this post. Jeff had posted, it's going to take more than just standing there and drinking water. It's just kind of a weird thing. And I know that there are a lot of people that don't like Jeff or whatever, but to me, it's more than that. Jeff says, I've seen the updates from the Indiana American Water about the recent taste and odor issues in our water. That context helps, but for residents experiencing a strange taste or smell, reassurance alone isn't enough. Respectfully, a quick video of the mayor taking a sip and saying, I feel fine, isn't how public confidence is built. Even though Indiana American Water operates the system, the city still has the responsibility to advocate for residents and ensure clear, transparent communication. What's needed right now, in case the city is wondering what they should be doing to ensure confidence in our drinking water, share the actual test data in plain language. Clearly explain what's causing the taste and the odor. Provide simple guidance for residents. Should they run the tap water, boil the water, or anything else to help mitigate the issue at the tap? Request Indiana American Water get an independent state level or third-party verification. Commit to regular updates until resolved. This isn't about blame, it's about trust, and trust comes from transparency, not just blind assurances. Even more and beyond that, it's also not built by blind loyalty and just saying, well, Dan says it's fine, so it must be fine. Let me tell you, there are a lot of issues that Dan has said is fine that the citizens are seeing is not fine. Dan said the crisis center is fine. Dan said that the issue with Muncie Police Department's been resolved since he's taken over. Look at the last topic we just talked about. Did that look fine to you? We've been told that the Southway Plaza is fine. Does that look fine to you? And let me tell you, the drinking water is a big issue. That's something that a lot of people are concerned about. I'm fortunate enough that I'm able to go buy water. Not everybody can do that. All right? So people having an issue with this is understandable. Whether the city of Muncie and their department heads understand that or not, it's not for them to understand. It's what they need to understand is what they need to do to help build trust. And we don't get that when our city's communications director and the department heads and the staff at City Hall are making fun of citizens and speaking out against it and making citizens look like they're dumb and they're fat and they're stupid and they're lazy. Now listen, I've been a friend in the past of Amber Greene's. It's been a long time since Amber and I have been in a friendly relationship. I haven't talked to Amber in a friend-like relationship in over a month. And I got to be honest, I am a little concerned by what I'm seeing coming out of the communications director's social media and the way that she looks at the earth. I'm not talking about the Amber that I used to know 2 or 3 years ago. I'm talking about the communications director of the city of Muncie. I have an issue with what I'm seeing. And, you know, I've told Ridenour about this. One of the things that I've always respected with about Ridenour is Ridenour has always said that he believes in the First Amendment and he is not going to police his employees' social media. This is not about his employees' social media. It's about the way they respond and act to citizens when they are on the clock, when they are on the city's dime, when it's the city of Muncie doing it. And listen, here's the other situation. I know that Amber and anybody else in that position has an opinion and has the right to express that opinion as well. But just because you express that opinion doesn't mean that everybody has to understand or like it. Doesn't mean that everybody has to listen to it. And it doesn't mean that that opinion, expressing that opinion, is free from consequence. Okay? It does not mean that, you know, your opinions and your freedoms of speech are free from consequence. You can do anything you want in this world. You have to be willing to pay the consequence. And then here's the thing. People then start bitching about these things as being said, and we don't just learn from that. We double down, and then we attack that. And so now we're seeing a big to-do I don't know what's going to come of this big to-do. We look back before all of this even happened. Muncie City Councilor Nora Powell had made a post. This was back on Friday, I think, Thursday or Friday, where Nora had said that she has had issues. Let me get to this. This was posted. Man, she posts a lot. This was back on April 8th. So April 8th was Wednesday. So this was well before this. Nora says, I've been contacted often since taking office, which was 2 years ago, including 3 times today, by citizens expressing frustration with the lack of professionalism and civility demonstrated on the city's social media platform. I've relayed messages to the mayor. I initially requested a copy of the city's social media policy on January 30th, as it's seen in the email below. I was told on February 24th that the HR director and the communications director are working to finalize it. I will share it here once it's completed. Okay. She then adds an addendum. This post wasn't made to single out a specific employee. It's about the lack of city policy. I've been contacted on several occasions over the last 2 years about the online behavior of employees from the city of Muncie, specifically during work hours. I was contacted more than once yesterday by residents asking me to take action on behalf of citizens. I explained I'd notify the administration in the past and will continue to do so. I've requested copies of the social media policy. I've simply posted here to be transparent to others who've contacted me or expressed concerns. It's clear people are frustrated. Okay. Then she reads we read the emails, and the emails read as follows: from Nora Powell to Dan Ridenauer on January 30th. Happy Friday, Dan. I received an attached screenshot from a Muncie resident earlier this week with a request to address the situation with you and follow up with them. I understand Amber Greene has the same freedom of speech as any other person in our country. I support her right to exercise that freedom 100%. However, there is an added layer of protocol and professionalism that is to be expected because of her position as the communications director for the City of Muncie. I am not suggesting that she nor any other City of Muncie employee, deserve or should be made to endure such attacks, or that they were warranted. And we don't know what the picture is because she didn't include it. But she goes on and says, it's my opinion that her Facebook post was completely unprofessional. It casts an extremely negative light on your administration. If Muncie residents feel their message or voicemails are being judged, laughed at, or could potentially end up as fodder for a member of your administration's personal social media account, it may limit our constituents reaching out to us with their concerns, which, let's face it, Dan and his company would be very happy if that happened. So that's what they're looking forward to. Okay. They don't want to hear from people. Amber Greene had access to the voicemails because of her position in your administration. She chose to use this information to publicly mock your constituents on her personal Facebook page. I reiterate that her First Amendment rights allow her to do so, but just because she can doesn't mean she should, especially when her actions reflect on the entire city administration. Regardless of the abrasive content of the voicemail, I think her actions were incredibly unprofessional. But it's not my opinion that matters, it's yours. Without sharing details, please let me know if you address this issue with members of your staff in an attempt to prevent this type of scenario from occurring in the future. I'd also like a copy of your administration's social media policy. Thank you, Nora Powell. And again, that was sent on January 30th. On February 4th, she sent another email. Dan, I also requested a copy of the city's social media policy. Thank you. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see. Oh, no. Nora had sent on February 2nd. As you follow up with Muncie resident that sent this to you, please request that this person reach out to me directly. Dan sent that to Nora on Monday, February 2nd. Then Nora said, I relayed your message, and she said she has messaged you privately on Facebook and included screenshots. She chooses not to message you via your city email account. And I will tell you why. She does that because Dan is not the one that reads his email accounts. His email accounts go to Shireen Wegley. Shireen Wegley is the one that answers all of Dan's emails. Nora then says, I also requested a copy of the city's social media policy. Thank you, Nora Powell. Then from Dan on February 24th, Nora, you had asked for the city's social media policy. Currently, social media items are being reviewed by legal. Under Michelle Owens, then communication director, a policy was being formulated. Well, Michelle hasn't been the communications director in over 2 years. So you mean to tell me that we've been working on a communications situation, on a policy for communications in the city of Muncie for 2 years? Are you kidding me? That's insane. What is going on? Under Michelle Owen as communications director, a policy was being formulated. Upon Michelle leaving to teach at Ivy Tech 2 years ago, it was picked up by Amber Greene and HR director Patty Goddard. Amber and Patty have been working on this for 2 years. Those two continued efforts and brought something forward which was sent to legal for review. Our current employee handbook does not address social media as it was written many, many years ago. Once we are ready for final action, I will forward to the entire council. That was February 24th. We're 2 weeks away from April 24th. What is taking so long? This should have taken at most a month, a week, 2 weeks, a month, 6 months. I'll give you 6 months. 2 years and 2 months? That is unacceptable. Unacceptable. This is a communication issue. Ryan Webb posted something about the water issue, and Shireen Wegley said, we don't have a water crisis. No, you might be right. We have a communication, a transparency, and an accountability crisis. The same one we've had since January 1st, 2020. The city attorney refused to give me any information pertaining to Facebook and the city's Facebook page because they don't know. There was nothing, Stumblefoot. They didn't have anything. They've been sitting around with their thumbs up their ass for the last 2 years. Just absolutely out of control. So now we have this situation where citizens have put together a petition for Amber Greene to be fired. You know, I don't know if Dan is going to respond to that or if he's going to sit there and do nothing. Okay. Let's see. What do we got here? Wow. Okay. This is just one post I've seen. Sorry, I was reading this. Somebody sent this to me as I was looking. Okay. So here's a post. I don't know who this is. To make something clear, I don't care what Amber Greene's own diet and exercise habits are, how she votes or looks, nor the intimate details of her personal life. These details fall under the category of it's not happening in my house, so it's not happening in my head. What I care about is how Amber Greene thinks the people of Muncie she's paid to serve. What I care about is that this is how Amber thinks of the people she's paid to serve. The people whose very taxes pay her to serve them. If a teacher routinely made disparaging comments about their students or a medical professional about their patients, their ability to do their job would be questioned. The same thing is happening here to Miss Greene. Muncie, you deserve a comms director who actually likes you and speaks to you about you in a respectful and professional fashion, not just someone who wants to siphon your tax money, take it back to Yorktown, and then talk trash about you on her phone. Like one petition signer so thoughtfully put, why are we paying someone to be rude to us? And then this person posted a lot of comments. Fox 59, WTHR. I'm not sure if you've forgotten, but there's about a dozen other suburbs of Indianapolis you could run stories on, or maybe even Indianapolis itself, the city you see when you look out your window. And those are people that she should be having a relationship with. Fox 59 and WTHR. Those are entities she should be having a relationship with. I genuinely love that the biggest problem for some people in Muncie is how I do my job. Knowing there's nothing else to worry about is such a relief. You get paid tax dollars. To be bitchy to people. Yeah, people are going to be worried about that. PSA, if you call my office with a question, I'll gladly give you the facts. What I will not do is debate reality with you. If you wish to insist I'm wrong after I've given you the correct answer, just know the call isn't going to go the way you want. I can tell you the facts. I cannot comprehend them for you. It's not a final budget hearing if they don't want me fired. I don't know. I just don't know how he's going to interact. I don't know how he's going to interact with this. I don't know what he's going to do, if he's just going to completely overlook the petition that people want filed. I don't know. I don't know how Dan is going to react to any of this. I don't know. Do we know where we are on the petition? Kate, I have not seen. She's looking for it now. I've not seen the petition in a minute. I just
the petition is at 825 people.
825 people in 3 days. So it's slowing down.
In 3 days, but just for informational purposes, where's it at? 90% of the supporters are coming from Muncie-specific zip code.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. Because that's one thing that the city always says is most of these people aren't even from here.
Yeah.
The thing is, I feel like Dan and a lot of the people in Dan's office forget that when they're speaking for the mayor.
Well, and she's like, I don't have a right to my opinion.
No, she doesn't get money she doesn't get paid for DCRC. She also works for DCRC as a board member, but she's not paid.
Correct.
Those people aren't paid.
So all of these entities, the Fair Board,
yeah,
the Redevelopment Commission, what else is she on?
That's it.
Okay, so she's on those two boards. She's a communications director. Every time she talks on social media, she is reflecting on those. I don't care whether it's on her personal time or on her personal page.
Mm-hmm.
I do not comment about my job on my personal page, period. About anything. I have a social media, it's part of my contract.
Yeah.
You know, I can't comment on those things. I don't comment to them privately. Anyone who calls is always right. Because my job is customer relations, just like hers is. But she is commenting about an issue within the city when she's talking about the water, which means it's reflecting directly on the mayor's office. She can have an opinion, but she needs to decide what her opinions are about that she's posting on.
There you have it. So, yeah, that's it. That's it, folks. I mean, I don't know how Dan's going to deal with this. There's a lot of me that believes he's not going to say a damn thing about it. If you want me to be perfectly honest, nothing's going to come from this. Nothing is going to come from this. That's what I think is going to happen. So, we'll see what the people that are upset about this do when nothing happens by anything. That's one of the things that it's crazy to me. I mean, it's totally crazy that that's how this stuff works. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All right, folks, that's it. Thank you all for tuning in. God bless each and every one of you. I think this is how we are going to do it moving forward. We will do a 30, 40, 45-minute candidate interview. Then we'll have a little bit of a program. We do have candidates lined up. I will tell you, I'm just sucks. I'm telling you, I'm not going to advertise the campaigns or the candidates ahead of time. So you're just going to have to kind of tune in and look. The beginning of each episode will have their name, so you can see when we post them, and you'll see that. So, all right, you guys take care. God bless each and every one of you. We will see you back here tomorrow. And that's about it. Hey, smash that like button if you haven't already. We would be so gracious if you would do that, and give us a like, do all of that stuff. Subscribe if you haven't, and we will see you back here, same bat time tomorrow. All right, you guys take care. God bless. Good night. Goodbye.